Well, President Trump, and Julie was just talking about this. He was talking about taxes today with those small business owners. The White House is looking overall at a November deadline for tax cuts. Now, the Senate Democratic group, they're setting several conditions now for tax reforms, but how should the GOP proceed? Can they reach across the aisle? I want to bring in Patriarch Organization Chairman and CEO Eric Schiffer, Fox News political contributor Tammy Bruce, and Fox News contributor and National Review contributing editor Deroy Murdock. And Tammy, I want to start with you. The tax issue has been so, you would think it'd be bipartisan, but the worry now is that the House is going to come up with something, it's going to die in the Senate. People are worried that what happened with health care is going to happen with tax reform politically. Is that a fair concern?
Possibly, yes. But remember, the Senate could have really, and what they were trying to do at the end was pass anything to get it into the Reconciliation Committee, because that's then where the bill really comes out from. So it was just, it's really, no matter what the House or Senate would pass down tax reform, it's not going to be what that is on either the House or the Senate side. So then you get into the reconciliation. I think this is where the American people come in as well. The Democrats are determined, frankly. They know that they're a weak regional club now. They want to stop any success that the president or the Republicans can have. Yeah. So I don't expect them to have any kind of effort to really help this along. And the standards that they sent over to McConnell saying, well, we'll help you if you promise that you won't do any legislation by yourselves. I mean, really silly standards that even McConnell's already rejected. So we'll see how this works. But it's also small business is going to have to chime in regarding this, because our GDP, money in the pockets of employees, more employees, small business employees, more people in this country, and creates the most new jobs. They're opened by people of color and women. It affects the entire spectrum. The Democrats will try to stop that.
It does. And you know what? That's what the Republicans did for so many years, except the Republicans promised they had a plan to repeal and replace Obamacare.
They sure
and they kind of didn't, just to be clear. Deroy, so let's talk about this, because the obstructionists from the Democrat, obstructionism, we're going to see that. I mean, that's already kind of baked into the cake. But the corporate tax rate, I think, is where you're really going to see the biggest fight. The White House wants 15%. You had Orrin Hatch, who's on the committee, say, I don't think 25% is even possible. That's a pretty big divide between just one senator and the White House. And that's just two people talking.
I think we should get it at 15%. The average across the developed world is about 25. So if we get it at 25, that would make us basically competitive with other countries. We need to be better than competitive. We want to have a competitive advantage. And at 15%, I think you will see outsourcing end. I think you'll see insourcing. Foreign companies will come to the United States to create jobs, to manufacture and all that. And it's not just the lower rate, which is vital, but simplification. If you're running a business and you, A, have lower taxes, and B, you're not filling out endless paperwork and worried about this loophole and that exception, and you have a very simple, what did you make, send 15%, basically, with maybe a couple of additional details, and that would make life a lot easier for people, the small businesses we saw.
It's interesting. I can hear what these Democrats are going to start saying, though, in particular, Eric, when it comes to, well, these big evil corporations. Look at Apple. They've got billions of dollars in cash, which they do. They had a fabulous quarter, obviously. After the bell, the company is going gangbusters. But there's an example of a company that still has billions parked overseas because of the regulatory and the tax structure of the United States.
No question. Look, I think businesses are way overtaxed. They are not competitive on a global level. And I think what Trump is trying to do certainly is level the playing field so we can compete. Businesses can compete effectively. Democrats are going to have a hard time because you have so many of these small businesses right now that are just, they're overtaxed, and they've got to be able to show economically that they're giving to these people. And I think that the good thing for Republicans in all of this, in this debate, and certainly what they faced on the healthcare side, you had such a tough opposition. In this situation, you don't have the strength of the opposition, and that's why I'm very bullish about Republicans being able to get this through. I think it's going to happen. Now, will it happen at the tax rate that we're talking about, the 15%? Probably not. But I think you're going to get somewhere in the 20 to 25%, and that means great things for people. It means more jobs, and that's what we need. We need small business and businesses in general to want to invest in jobs because they're not giving it to Uncle Sam. That's a great thing, and I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, certainly to have, a simplification of the tax code, fewer tax brackets, and the corporate tax rate lowered, that's a great start. And I think Republicans, and I think you've all kind of made this point, know they've got to get something done. I think we all agree on that tonight, guys. Well, thank you so much for the perspective. Appreciate it. Certainly there's so much to talk about when it comes to Washington. We did have some breaking news within the last hour.